on the presidential palace by mutinous forces has been shot down. Unregistered SIM cards in the country will be blocked at the end of March 2022 after a 6-month registration period expires, says Communication Minister. Strategies to help in the construction of the National Cathedral in the country unveiled. And former South African president leaves prison on medical grounds. And welcome to News Hour right here on GBC News and on GTV. My name is Jonathan Thompson. Now for the details. The fate of Guinea's President Alpha Condé is unclear after an unverified video showed him in the hands of soldiers who said they had staged a coup. However, the defense minister has been quoted as saying the attempted takeover had been thwarted. This follows hours of heavy gunfire near the presidential palace in the capital, Conakry. Soldiers are patrolling the deserted streets of the city center. Meanwhile, terrified residents of the central Kaldum district have heeded their orders to stay at home. Joining us on the phone will be Dr. Vladimir Intridanzo, Dean, Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College. Hello, Dr. Vladimir.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us on News Hour. We're very grateful for having you here. Now, as an international relations expert, did you see this coming?
Well, thank you for having me. It was not unexpected, especially following from the last elections and the events that unfolded after that. There were underlying causes, and the main trigger was the president's intransigence in getting himself elected for a 3rd term, and following from there, the most immediate trigger being the neglect of the masses and thinking about himself and a small elite whose salaries he increased. So I didn't see it as something which was not unexpected. It's something that could come at any time. And it is something we should watch out from the Francophone countries of Africa generally. This 3rd term syndrome.
Okay, now, you're talking about this 3rd term syndrome. Now, last week the president actually sparked further outrage after a bill was passed increasing his salary. Are these the underlying factors as soldiers say they have taken over amid President Condé's grip on power?
The point is, it is still unclear, but from what I gather, it is very clear the soldiers will take over in any case, because they've suspended the constitution and they are asking Guineans to help them remove another constitution. Why I'm sure the takeover may be complete is also that it is coming from the presidential own guard. And it's coming from someone who was the confidant of the president since 2018, even though he showed signs of rebellion later on. He is from the French Legion and an experienced commander as such. And so if it's from his own guards, then I can imagine that unless there is a civil war, then I think the military will definitely take over.
Okay, now in a sharp contrast, the defense minister is quoted as saying that the attempted insurgency has been foiled or has been thwarted. What are your views on this?
Well, it is his duty. He doesn't have to fold his arms. He's the defense minister. He has to play it hard a little. Perhaps there's going to be some negotiation, whatever it is. So, yes, it is his duty to do that, but I doubt if he's going to succeed. He must command the forces. And the elite army, which is the presidential own guard, which has taken the president hostage, it's going to be very difficult to negotiate anything. So I think he's doing what any good politician would do.
Dr. Vladimir, this raises a very grave concern when it comes to politics in West Africa. We have political instability in Chad and in Mali. What are the implications?
Very, very serious implications. But let me say that we need to interrogate the question of democracy generally. Everywhere, it looks as though we are making democracy an event instead of a process. So when we have those things that the democracy people are telling us to do, then we say we have a democracy, we have a constitution, we have separation of powers, we elect a president every 4 or 5 years or 7 years, depending on what the constitution says, and we say, hooray, we have democracy. I think we need to start interrogating this very seriously, because democracy is a process. But what is happening around the whole world, especially in Africa, West Africa, for example, is that when we have all these things, then the people in power interpret the constitution. What is happening in Francophone West Africa is that in the middle of their term, they change the constitution. The people are happy that the constitution is changed. Then the incumbents say that, okay, I have finished with the old constitution, so I have a right to start another term. It started from Senegal, then Chad, then Niger, Tanzania, one of the best presidents Chad had ever had, wanted a term, then Togo, then Cote d'Ivoire, now Guinea, Mali. So you can see that it's like, yes, we have a democracy, but we are the ones who interpret the constitution. This we need to take it seriously.
Well, from the looks of things, Doc, I believe that you would say that democracy in West Africa, or in Africa as a whole, is under threat. It seems we should be growing in democracy, but it seems we are rather retrenching.
That's exactly what I was alluding to, that democracy itself as a way of building society, socio-economic formation, is under threat everywhere, even in the U.S. So unless we understand democracy as a process where the people themselves keep changing what they want to change at what time, rather than making it an event like a 100-meter race. Usain Bolt pressed the tape and he's first. And so when we get the ingredients that make for democracy, then we say, wait. So I'm saying democracy, we should interrogate democracy as a process itself, generally. So those of us who clap, for example, I know the ECOWAS is going to say, we have suspended you. We have done this, we have done this. But they wouldn't interrogate what it means, what it takes to make democracy crystallize itself.
Doc, moving into history a bit, some would be of the school of thought that Alpha Condé is actually getting a taste of his own medicine. In the 1990s, he's actually in his portfolio. We know he was charged for trying to topple the then leader. And also in 2011, there were some issues about him using some junta, a military junta, to actually cause mayhem. Do you think he's getting a taste of his own medicine?
Exactly, because if democracy has not been crystallized and consolidated, then this medicine will be played and played as and when. Because he's tasting his own medicine. If you're a good Democrat, you must study the underlying causes for which you wanted to come to power. There is so much ethnicity in Guinea and almost every other country. The Fula and the Malinkes don't get on very well, and the Fulas seem to be in majority. So he's getting a taste of his own medicine. The very ingredients he's using in coming to power are the very things people are using against him.
Okay, our final question. Do you think military coup d'etats are being used as a means of social justice in West Africa?
Well, I wouldn't go straight to that point that this is the case. What I'm saying is that let us not doubt the fact that, or let us not think, or be complacent and think that we have run the race, we have breasted the tape, hooray, we have democracy. Anything can happen. This is a lesson to all of us that, look, those of us who joke with democracy and make it an event, this is the process, will we'll be smiling at the wrong side of our mouth if such things happen. But because it can happen anywhere, because we have not really consolidated democracy. If we consolidate democracy, institutions of the state will be more powerful than the state itself. And then we, the people, will be more powerful. Then the constitution will be so powerful that nobody will even attempt to preserve the constitution. Until we are at that point, let us not think that this kind of conspiratorial kind of classic coups are over.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Vladimir Injudanso, for your time with us.
Welcome.
We've been talking to we've been talking to Dr. Vladimir Injudanso, who is a Dean, Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College. Meanwhile, a journalist from Guinea, Mr. Boubacar Diallo, in an interview with GBC News says the situation is rather less turbulent than in the morning. The gunshots that rang out throughout the morning has also stopped. He says the announcement of the army's seizure of power was greeted by scenes of jubilation in Conakry. Commander Mamadi Doumbouya, commander of the Special Forces, an elite unit of the army composed of ultra-trained elements, announced that he has the support of the army, which he has also called for unity. According to Colonel Doumbouya, the head of the Pachists, President Alpha Conde, was arrested and he is in a safe place and has even met with his doctor. However, he did not specify the place where he is being held for security reasons. Moving on, the Department of Correctional Services says former President Jacob Zuma has been released from prison on medical parole. Mr. Zuma has been incarcerated since July after he was found guilty of contempt of court for failure to comply with an order of the Constitutional Court to honor a summons to appear before the State Capital Commission. The statement states that they were compelled to do so based on a medical report received by the department. The department stressed that all offenders are eligible to be placed on medical parole should it be seen fit. The department said in a statement, medical parole placement for Mr. Zuma means that he will complete the remainder of the sentence in the system of community corrections, whereby he must comply with a specific set of conditions and will be subjected to supervision until his sentence expires. I beg your pardon. Mr. Zuma was sentenced to 15 months behind bars. Barring any hitches, registration of all SIM cards will begin on the 21st of next month. The 6-month exercise is expected to end on the 31st of March 2022, and any SIM card which is not registered within the period will be blocked. The Minister of Communication and Digitalization, Mrs. Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, who announced this at a media briefing in Accra today, said the national ID card will be the only certified card for SIM card registration. The minister said previous efforts failed because of the lack of a verifiable secure identification document.
In 2019, on this very forum, we indicated that we would commence SIM registration in March 2020. However, due to the pandemic, we were unable to do so. I'm happy to announce that the ministry and all stakeholders in the sector will launch the national SIM card registration exercise across the country next month in October. For the very first time in Ghana, there will be a SIM register just like countries such as Brazil, Germany and Switzerland, which will serve as a database giving comprehensive statistics regarding the number of subscribers in Ghana and providing a resource for tracking fraudsters and criminals. Barring any unforeseen eventualities, SIM registration will begin on 1st October 2021 for a 6-month period and end on 31st March 2022. Any SIM which is not registered at the end of this exercise will be blocked.
Government has condemned attempts by some people to undermine and discredit the Agenda 111 project, which seeks to transform the country's healthcare system. President Akufo-Addo last month launched the Agenda 111 hospital project, which has come under severe criticism from the opposition and some Ghanaians. The Minister of Information, Mr. Kojo Ponkroma, at a media briefing in Accra, described the criticism against the project, ranging from the cost to its execution, as without basis or merit.
If you recall, observed the commencement of works on the 17th of August 2021 in Trede in the Ashanti region. Now we notice genuine wishes from various actors, including health-based CSOs, media, and the public, to raise risk factors that should be attended to for the agenda to succeed, to benefit all Ghanaians. Disappointingly, we also notice deliberate, politically motivated claims of impropriety being cooked up against the project. This includes a recent claim by a member of parliament for North Dai that the projects were illegally awarded and the contract prices inflated. Another claim, as I'm sure you are already familiar with, is that already some 600 million Ghana cedis has been spent when no work has been done. Now, government assures the public that, one, all the contracts associated with the project were legally granted in accordance with approvals from the Public Procurement Authority. Two, in terms of costs, the cost of the district hospitals and Agenda 111, as you heard us mention right from this podium, about 17 million USD. This is about 50% of the cost of similar projects under the previous administration. It was costing between 25 and 35 million USD. The claim, therefore, of inflated contracts is therefore totally untrue, and we believe politically trumped up.
The immediate past chairman of the Church of Pentecost, Apostle Professor Pokonyina, who is now the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral Project, has called on all churches across the country and citizens of the country to collectively help to ensure the completion of the National Cathedral, described by many as Ghana's spiritual home. According to Apostle Professor Pokonyina, the National Cathedral is a physical embodiment of peace, harmony, and spirituality. Hence, raising funds is timely for a regular cash flow to facilitate the process of completing the project successfully. He made these remarks at a fundraiser ceremony for the National Cathedral Project held at the Royal House Chapel International in Accra.
If you are able to put it up, people will know the contributions that Africans have made to Christianity and how the Bible has also imparted society. Therefore, we will appeal to them to take everything coolly and have patience and contribute towards the putting up of the cathedral. And I believe that after the cathedral is completed and commissioned, people will come to understand the worth of what we have done. And we can actually see it as a gift, something that can be the visible sign of the headquarters of Christianity that has moved to the global south with Ghana as the center. What we have suggested, the trustees have suggested to the heads of churches, and it was accepted in August, that is last month, that once a year, 1 week will be set aside for prayer towards the cathedral and prayer for the nation Ghana. Then on the Sunday of that 1 week, special offerings will be raised to support the cathedral project. So it's a way of bringing the churches together once again, for the churches to pray for Ghana, our country, and also to pray that the Almighty God will bless the effort that we are making to put up a cathedral with the inclusion of Biblical Garden and Bible Museum for His own glory.
The Takoradi Junction portion of the Takoradi Road in the Western region will soon be fixed with pavement blocks to ensure its durability. The project is initiated by the University of Mines and Technology and funded by AngloGold Ashanti India Prem Mine.
The deplorable nature of portions of the Takoradi Road network remains a challenge for road users and the municipality. It is to find a solution to this problem that the India Prem Mine, in collaboration with the University of Mines and Technology, Ghana Highway Authority, the Takoradi Municipal Assembly, are pooling resources to fix the Takoradi Junction portion of the road with pavement blocks to ensure its durability.
As we said, we'll be spending roughly about 1.5 million Ghana cedis for the construction, and we are looking at durability, not just constructing a road. So that's why we are using the pavement blocks to absorb the level of heavy duty and heavy vehicles that prowl on the road, together with our buses as well. So we believe that this approach will probably ensure the durability and the lifespan of the road for a much better duration than what we normally see.
Professor Michael Afamo of the University of Mines and Technology, UMAT, was hopeful that the project will ease traffic on the 0.5 kilometer section of the road.
We engage in the preparation of the BOQ and all the technical signatures for the project. As has been indicated, the project is about 400-meter rigid pavement design intended to ease traffic on this section of the corridor. Indeed, those of you who have been coming to Takwa would agree that this is one of the areas which protects the community and the whole township and block traffic for several hours.
The construction will be undertaken by Werihelm Construction Limited within 6 weeks at a cost of 1.5 million cedis. The Member of Parliament for Takoradi, Mr. George Mekuduka, and the Municipal Chief Executive for Takoradi Municipality, Mr. Benjamin Kesse, both commended the initiative and advised road users and commuters to provide the needed support to enable the contractor to complete the project on schedule.
This is News Hour on GTV and GBC News. We should take a break. We'll be right back. Brought to you by Proster Joy. Now, the Black Stars of Ghana arrived in Johannesburg, South Africa ahead of the 2022 World Cup qualifier against the Bafana on Monday, September 6, 2021 at the FNB Stadium. The Black Stars head coach Siki Akono traveled with a 26-man squad for the trip, leaving out other players from England and Germany who could not join the team. The players left out due to the coronavirus traveling restrictions were Daniel Amate, Jordan Ayew, Jeffrey Schlop, Andy Yadom, Baba Rahman, Braden Menu, and Daniel Kofi Chere. The team traveled on a chartered flight and upon arrival will lodge at the Hotel the Sky View in the city of Sandton. France's winless streak has stretched to 5 games. They drew 1-1 with Ukraine in the World Cup qualifier in Group D.